We're already here. Hey,
Is it
hey,
stream?
hey. Hi, everyone. Don't mind me. It's me, Tech. Hello. If you're coming online, right, welcome if you're joining us live. I have Shia Taylor here. I'm really excited. I've brought Shia on before on the channel just to kind of share, and I'm really happy to bring her on again. So sorry we're a little bit late for those of you that had the email, but I think it's really useful. If you're new to my channel, I'm Cooia, and I help Christian Kingdom women, right, to get to make 6 figures in their businesses, and do it in a way that honors God. And so today I'm just sharing from the Abundance Now Challenge. We're just sharing some wins and some feedback and some insider juice. And I want to share with Shia because in one of our coaching calls this week, like Shia was just sharing some stuff, and I was like, you have to come on and just share this. Like I was just like, because like Shia is also, and obviously I'll let you talk, Shia, right? But you're a minister of the gospel, right? You're a pastor, you're a mother, and you're just a great woman. And I just love all the things that you carry, and I love your posture before God, and I just love your determination and your ability to just do the thing, right? So I'm gonna send it over to you and just share more about what you do and who you help, really, because I think that would be really helpful for those who are in that space.
Okay, so hi everybody. So I am Coach Shia, and I am a nonprofit navigator. I teach nonprofits how to get to 0 to 6 figures through my signature program, which is called the Growth and Impact Lab, which we created in the Abundance Now Challenge.
Fantastic.
That's me.
Yes, it did. And so when did we met each other? When was it? I think it was last year.
It
Last
was the end of October or beginning of November.
End of October, November. And where were you before we met? Like what was happening to you before we met? What was life lifing? Life lifing.
So yeah, I had been relatively sick in 2022 because I had COVID pneumonia.
Yeah.
And in 2023, well, actually 2022 was my launch of me being completely an entrepreneur, like
Yeah.
full-time entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But I ended up sick for most of the year. And so when I came into 2023, I was kind of like in between being an entrepreneur and looking for an employment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I just had an earnest prayer with God, and I was like, what do I do? And I remember the shifting moment for me was when I was looking for a job again
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure what was going on with my business. And
Yeah.
I heard the Lord as clear as day. He was like, "You're trying to be stable. I'm trying to be supernatural."
Oh man.
And so I was like, "Okay, Lord, what do you want me to do?"
Can I just pause? Wait,
And
I didn't maybe heard that.
yeah, go ahead.
So God said, right, you're trying to be stable and God's trying to be supernatural. Would you let him be supernatural? Basically, is what.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
and before that,
And I always,
sorry that she, I know you have some bits in your story, but before that, you worked in corporate, right? Or you worked, or not, or you worked for a non-profit, but you were working, not corporate, sorry, but you had a 6-figure job, I believe, or you were working, tell
I
me
had
about
built
who
a
you were
nonprofit.
before. Let me know, let them know about you before biz entrepreneur. I
Yeah.
really want people to know your story a little bit more. So what you were doing and how you were helping non-profits, what you've achieved, because you've achieved quite a lot. So I'd love you to share that, please.
So I would say I had what you call good jobs,
Okay.
right? I had worked in financial aid when I was in my like early 20s, and I had always been in management since my first job. And then 2024, 2015, I got into the nonprofit space. I ran a homeless shelter that was extremely successful. We had a 82% success rate. So meaning someone could be completely homeless on the street and 82% chance if they got to our program, they wouldn't be.
Wow.
And so I loved doing that. And
Yeah.
that's when I got into grant writing because our executive was one day, he was like, "Hey, I don't know if we're gonna make payroll." And he was talking to two Black women and a Latina woman at a table. And we were looking like, "What he just say that?" And I'm the senior case manager. So they're looking at me because I'm basically next in charge. Like, "Did you know this?" And I was like, "No, don't look at me." And so I went into the office with my case manager and I was like, "Hey, pull every record we have on money." I took a grants class and I started calling people like donors, like, "Hey, we need some money over here because your donation about to go down the drain."
Mm,
And I got into grant writing. The first grant I ever got was $25,000 and I never looked back. And
mm,
so I have been doing it ever since.
wow.
Once I left that organization, I went to a startup nonprofit.
Yeah.
I was the first employee. We had a $25,000 staff budget. Like we had no money. Um, And by the time I left, we were in a 1,500 square foot warehouse to a 9,000 square foot warehouse. We had over 25 employees, and we were serving on average 63,000 people a year. And that went from serving 1,500 when I first started to 63,000. And
Wow.
so on average, we were anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 people per month.
Wow.
And we did it with ease. We did it with an amazing team. And it was nothing but God. And I think I had an advantage because I had been the child getting services. So
Right.
my vantage point was I could see it all. I could
Yeah.
see what the families needed and what we needed to do to meet their needs.
Yeah.
And it was really successful. It is to this day. I mean, it's huge. Like if I said the name, you'd be like, oh, I know that place. It's huge.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, it's actually national.
Wow.
And so from working there, I was the director of programs and operations. So I ran everything and I was the senior. So there was no one above me. There was a CEO and it was me. And me and her, we worked that thing. But because of my position, I worked with over 200 to 400 nonprofits eventually when I finally resigned. And everyone would ask me questions because they want to know, how do you get this way? What did you do? And so I began doing like really soft coaching and consulting and
Yeah.
helping other nonprofits we're working with who are doing the work, right? Stay afloat, especially when COVID came. A lot of nonprofits called and was like, hey, we got to restructure, we're gonna go under.
Yeah.
And so I became like this restructuring machine. I would say, what do you have? What are we doing? And I would literally tell them, okay, this is what you need to do to stay. This is what you need to do. This is what you to stay safe, especially with us being essential workers, right? During the
Yeah.
pandemic, we weren't closed. We never closed.
Yeah.
And so after that, it was like, okay, I knew I had something already, but it wasn't like it was nothing I wanted to do full time. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I'm good. I can help them and stay right here. But
Yeah.
God,
But
God, He's a big God, right? He's like, I know you're comfortable, but I have need of you somewhere else.
yeah. Yeah.
And so that was that. That was that.
So God led you. Did God? So God did God? What happened for that job? So when you had that, was God telling you to leave, or what happened? Or how's it?
Yeah, he was telling me to branch out. And it wasn't like I want you to become an entrepreneur and work with six-figure nonprofits. It was like, I don't want you sitting in this seat anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I had built my salary. You have to think I went from 25,000 to 70, and we also had benefits. Like we didn't have anything when I first started. We couldn't afford it. And
Mm,
now we've got this huge team. We have multiple locations. We had 3 locations. When I started, we had one little warehouse. So now we've got 2 locations in Georgia, one in Tennessee. We also have a fleet of vehicles. So now we've included a fleet of vans we didn't have before.
yeah.
I mean, it was massive. It was 9,000 square foot of warehouse. So it was a massive operation. I was like, surely this is not
So
it.
here you are. You helped build this business, this nonprofit to, like, I don't know, wait, well, how much it was when you left it, but then God tells you to leave, and you're like, okay, and now you're starting on your own to kind of like do something, right? And then when we met, what was happening? You were kind of like, what was happening with you then when we met?
I didn't have a rhythm. I'm a systems person. So on paper, I'm like a project manager. I put systems in place and I couldn't put a system in place, which was odd for me because every place I had been, I had put a system in place.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I thought it was going to be very natural for me
yeah,
to put a system in place. But that wasn't the case for myself.
yeah,
There was a need for surrender, partnership, but also allowing God to help build my vision. And I realized that when I went into the different spaces in the nonprofit world, at this point, when I connected with you, I had served over 170,000 people, right? Millions in grants. So for me, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a smooth, transition.
yeah,
But what God showed me was when you're building something big, it always takes help.
yeah, yeah.
Always. You're
Always.
not excluded from it.
Yeah,
And so in those places where I was, someone else had a vision and I came and I put the dots together.
yeah,
And it was no different for me.
yeah,
Somebody had to come in, okay, let me see your vision, which was you and the women in the program and
yeah,
Coach Katie. They were like, okay, let me see what you have. Okay, no, you need this. And
yeah,
then you already have the system,
yeah,
so so you already have the system. And it's like, okay, use my system because
Yeah.
it works for what you have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And you broke the system. And so when you finished, you came in, you came to the Abundance Now challenge, and then we
Yeah.
met. And after the, I think you did. What did you do? The month after, you guys had some wins. The first month after the challenge, I believe. Or
No,
had,
I had my first one while I was in it.
oh, we're in the challenge. Okay, right in the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I started implementing everything. So they were basically like I was priming them and then they were closing the month later. So it
Right.
was actually I was making these contacts while I was in the program,
Yeah.
Abundance Now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they started paying. So while I was in the program, let me add it up. It was 55, 6,400 $6,450.
Fantastic.
Before that, I had made that in the most I had made was maybe 3K. And that was like working, working, working.
So the Abundance Now open at the door. The Abundance Now open at the door. And then hey, there you go, 6,000 for the following month after the challenge that you close. But hey, if you're watching, I think Stacey, I see you there. Stacey, how you doing? Listen, if you're watching, listen, work it because it works. She works it and it works.
Yeah, you weren't even my coach officially. You became my coach in January, right?
Right, I think so.
Well,
Yeah, or later on in the year, I think it was. But we were kind of like back and forth a little bit. But I was just kind of like,
yeah.
and then you use the tools, and this is what I love about you. You use the tools that you were given, and you work the tools. And then we said, okay, listen, now what's next? You came into CFA. Came into CFA, and there's two things I remember. It's because like when you mentioned I think it was early this year, and you messaged me and you said, you know what, I made more in just the beginning of this year than I had made in the entire year of last year. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I'll say this.
Yeah.
I knew what it was supposed to feel like. I knew I was overworking.
Yeah.
And so, you know me, I'm like, the word says, come unto me, all you are laboring heavy laden, I will give you rest.
Amen.
Take up my ways and learn of me because my yoke is easy and
Yeah.
my burden is light.
Yes.
And so even though the money started flowing, it was like, it can't be this hard.
Yeah.
Like I've never had a hard job.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
Not
it.
built for that.
Yeah.
Like I hear people say, oh, I get up and I go to work every day and I'm like, you will get up and go to work every day and they'll say, I don't have time to change. So you will go to work every day to a job that is actually going to kill you with stress and break your body down, but you don't have the time to learn how to do it the right way so you don't have to feel that way. Like it's a conundrum to me. I don't understand,
I love
but
it.
people do it.
People will
And
do.
so CFA was that time for me to say, okay, now God has given me something. There's surely he's not giving me something that's harder than anything I've ever had.
For sure. Yeah.
Especially if I'm the one who's like co-laboring and building it with him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. And so CFA introduced the ease.
Yeah.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to mislead anybody.
Yeah.
Ease does not mean you don't get frustrated. Ease does not mean you don't have to rebuild.
Yeah.
Ease doesn't mean that it like you don't, some hours you have to go a little harder than others. Ease means on the inside, I'm at peace.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
On the inside, I'm certain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
So that's the ease
That's
that I can sleep at night. And I'm excited to wake up.
Yeah.
That's the ease I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And you came, can I just say this as well? You came in with that. You came in with kind of like, you know what? Okay, what are we doing? What's next? Okay. I was like, it was just kind of like an okay. And it was just like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do it. What did you say? And you just kind of like worked it. And as you worked it, it was working for you. And so it's just that, and I think, yeah, and so even like I love what you did in terms of, okay, now I have all these tools. Which part can I take that I'm gonna focus on? Because that's the thing about CFA. We give you all of these tools, but then at the end of everything, it's like, okay, some people will run and do launches. Some people will kind of do the evergreen. Some people will kind of do different things. Like, but you have all the tools to decide, okay, I'm going to now, with the Holy Spirit as well, now I have all these tools. I know what works and what I enjoy. I'm going to work the thing that works for me the best. And we had to refine. You did the launch. You made some money. We had to refine it. We had to, okay, actually you were like, Wiki, people want this one day. I don't have to do a whole whole like big old 5 days. They just want a 1 day
Weeks,
with
yeah.
me, or I don't have to do a house. Like, they want 1 day with me, and like, so when you have, your business, ladies, your business. It's not a one size fits all. Let me just put it out there. It's not a one size fits all. And so when you come into CFA, you get tools, but we can refine it for your business and what works for you. And that's what happened to you, Shia. So you can just kind of share. And then you started to get consistent, making money like every single month with ease, because you were doing a system that you loved and that it just resonated, right? So you can just share.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so you want me to tell the system part first?
Not all the system, but like what you enjoyed about doing the system, yeah, kind of thing. Just in terms of like, I guess, just in terms of like, how much money you made altogether so far, right? How much you've made, and like, and I guess you had to, and I showed in my email, if you got my email, the peaks and troughs of that, and you were like, what, when I had some of the down months, it was because I wasn't really working the system and I had things going on. So I was just sharing that a little bit, just in terms of from your perspective, your experience really. That's what I would just say.
Okay, so my experience was, in the beginning, it was me understanding that of relearning.
Yeah.
You have to think, I build systems, right? Yeah. You have to think. So my mind is to go into a place and see where I can improve it.
Yeah.
And so I had to tell myself, this is not this.
Yeah.
Like, you just go in, you work the system, and give Coach Bookie the authority, right? Because in that system, I submitted to God, right? And then God sent you. And so there's a line of submission that happens.
Yeah.
Where it's not my job to go in and critique the system and say, oh, no, I'm gonna do it this way because, this feels, light and airy, that. So that was my first challenge, if I can say, was just looking at the system and saying, just work it.
Yeah, just work it.
Even though I did it quickly, it still was a mental thing for me to be like, just work this and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not here to create anything. You're here to use what's already been created.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that was my first challenge.
Yeah.
And then after, it wasn't even a long time for me. Like, in time wise, it wasn't, but internally it was a process.
Yeah.
Of just sitting down and getting through the material. Like, okay, go ahead and apply that. I don't need you to put no extra on it. I don't need you to try to shear it up. Just go.
Shear it up.
Don't try to shear it up. Just go. Right. And then also, in spite of how my flesh felt.
Yeah.
Because your flesh can be at war where your spirit is like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when you start putting posts out. Because you want to know, is it validated by likes and follows? Is it validated? No, it's validated on the fact that you move forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
To get out of the mindset of nobody likes it. Nobody, you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 You have to keep going because people were seeing it. People, and I have to, I do have to mention this win because I know there's things you're still working out, but you landed a really good client, right? But that was based on your visibility and you just doing the work and like trusting the process that the right people are going to see your stuff, right? And so out of doing that, following the system, following the process, like the right people found you. Like, we made lots of noise.
$92,000.
Yeah, $92,000 client found you, right? You had a contract, $92K contract found you on the back of you doing the work, right? And so, but not only that, you've had clients consistently. I think I want to say every month. You had money. At least you've had like a consistent flow of income coming in every single month because you were doing the work. And so we worked it out. I think how much did we end on? I think for the year so far, I think is about. What did we say it was? It was about 62,000 altogether. I think you've done, and that is.
Did you add the 8,000 and the 11,000 for this month?
Did I add it?
I think we added this month.
I think I did.
No, we added. Hold on, let me pull it. Did you pull this month? I'll send it to your DM.
Okay, all right. But about
and then this month we're at 11,863.
How much is that?
11,863
for this month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. I didn't even know that, right? So we're adding another, right? So it's working. The point is, ladies, so this month, I didn't even know, right? I'm calculating she has figures, so she's adding more, keep on adding more figures, right? She's done 11,000 this month. I didn't even know. So, we just, but the point, I guess, is it's like, it works if you indeed work the system. And I just wanted to bring Shia on to share that it works. And she's been working it. And when the times, I guess, the times when, it was like a low month. It was just that, we weren't as active and doing the things. But then now we're still working to automate the thing. We still haven't even automated it yet. We still need to automate it because, everybody's business is going to take, it's going to do well at different times. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of also put that out there, but be willing to do the work, willing to just put the systems in place. I would say, what is just if you want to share the experience of CFA altogether, just even the other women in the group, the community, connections. And I'd just love you to just share your behind the scenes experience of just being in inner circle. I call you're in my inner circle. She's in my inner circle. What's the experience of it altogether?
The support is phenomenal. The support is phenomenal. I wouldn't, even if there was no program, just the women showing up is worth it. Amen. And I don't mean just monetarily, I mean soul level wise.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
It's really different. I had a conversation last night with this gentleman. We were talking about friendship. And I said, I can't just have anybody around me because they have to be anointed to a certain level to be my friend. They have to have a capacity to be my friend. And CFA, there's an anointing and a capacity for the women because we're carrying things.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you have a baby, right? It's one thing if you're carrying multiples. There's a specialist that's involved in that.
Yeah.
And what you have is people who are called to these. And when I say mountaintops, I'm not talking about you're serving a lot of people. I'm talking about your perspective is higher.
Yeah.
So even if I serve one person a month, that person is getting a mountain peak experience with me because I'm going to another place to get revelation for them.
Of course. Yeah.
That's how it is. And so with the women in CFA, we get to have this exchange of not only emotion, but our spiritual walk, which is the most important because it's a soul level.
Yeah.
Right. You can get coaching and you can teach business and but is there a soul level that's taking place?
Yeah.
So it's in John 1:2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou may prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospers.
Yeah.
Right. So we get to do a soul prospering experience.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. I was already, because the Lord told me you were my coach before you were officially my coach.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Coach Bookie, kids walk around my house with a British accent. Coach Bookie has heard my kids. I'm like, is that Coach Bookie again? Like, yep, it is. Right. They have it down because we would listen to you in the car on YouTube. And I was like, I just got to immerse myself because I have to know what she thinks. Right. I want to know what she's already learned so I don't have to continue those things.
Yeah.
And so before you were my coach, it was like just, getting all we could. And I say we because my son is 9. He's taking an entrepreneurship class now. And he's like, Mom, I've heard this before. And I was like, where? He was like, when you were talking to Coach Boogie, I was like,
he's learning.
Like, yes, son.
Yeah.
That is the demand market. I said, demand market? What do you know about that? He was like, I heard Coach Boogie say that. I was like,
oh, come on now.
The man of the market.
I love that. I love it. Right. Oh,
but that alone, because you have highs and lows, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be able to combat those lows and be like, nah, the vision is still the same.
The vision is still the same.
Like how you feel is irrelevant.
Yeah.
God can't give you a vision without provision.
Of course.
So your job is to open your eyes.
Yeah.
To see where the provision is. There is no more. I can't. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. None of that is relevant when it comes to kingdom work because God is not a baby daddy that they can't supply.
Oh, come on now. See, now she's coming out. Now she's coming out.
God gave me a vision, but he didn't give me nothing to get it done. You're like, I don't think that's my Lord.
No, never. In fact, never. Like, God is not going to give you a vision that he will not give you the provision to actually execute it. Never, ever. But then see, I love your spirit because you did, like, you already, like, she's already my coach and we didn't even meet yet kind of thing. But you were like, you know what, right? It was faith in action. And it was, see, anyone listening, I just want to say this, like there is something you have to let God lead you. Let God lead you. I'm not even here to kind of like cajole anybody. Let God lead you. But when God does lead you, do know it will work for you. Like you have to move in faith. You have to do the work. But when you do the work and you move in faith, like it has to multiply. Like I have so much joy when someone says to me, you know what, God led me to you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it. Let's just move. Let's move forward. Let's do it because I know that it's going to bear forth fruit. But you have to partner with God. I think Shia, what you did is you partnered with God first, and because of the partnership with God, you just followed and you just was like, okay, let's just do it. Let's just move forward because it was, and that brought the fruit because you were partnering with God on everything that we had done here. And like, I'm partnering with God, you're partnering with God. If we're all partnering with God, it has to manifest, right? It has to work out. It will work. There's nothing, it cannot not work out. That's how I see
The
it.
agreement.
So
And the agreement. The word is if two agree on anything, it shall be established. Some of us just need agreement.
yeah, yeah,
Some of us just need someone to come alongside us and agree with us.
yeah, for
And
sure.
that'll push it forward by itself. Some of us, because the prayer is like a cup, is running over.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to match your faith because you can feel down. When I can say this and I'm okay with it. I had been in business. I had never had any really like hard financial struggles in my life because I was always a really hard worker. I would work 2 jobs if I had to. It was never a thing for me. And I remember like I was facing eviction. And I was like, Lord, I know you want me to get a job because I know you don't want me to get evicted. Like with my 4 children that I homeschool and I'm recently divorced. I know this isn't free for me. And literally, I had made up my mind. I joined your program while before I even knew what my eviction outcome was going to be because I knew I was that certain what God was saying.
Amen.
Like it doesn't happen like that. Like
Amen.
you don't pray, get into entrepreneurship, meet an international business coach. Like, oh, I don't think she's for me though. Like it doesn't work that way, right? Like logically, it's like, oh, she's probably for me then because I need that.
Yeah.
And literally, the Lord took care of my eviction. It didn't go through, and I continued on the program. And I never. And that next month, my rent has been straight since, right? And I've even moved, right? And
moved
about to
house,
get
everything, like
right. So there's no excuse. Like people want to say, oh, I can't afford it. So you can afford to go to a job that's stressing you out and continue to wonder if your dream will come to pass. Like that, okay. Or people will say, I don't have the time. When you get to heaven, I promise you, that is not something you can say to the Lord. If you can't say it to the Lord, don't say it to yourself or me.
Yeah, I love that. Come on now.
I'm at the gate and the Lord is like, so, well done and good faithful servant, or depart from me, I never knew you.
Yeah.
So you're standing there, but wait a minute. And then he brings out the book and he's like, you didn't have the time. You had 9,999 points seconds. Like he knows.
He knows. Yeah, you didn't have the time.
Like, we can't say that. We can't be like, well, Lord, I didn't have the. You can't say that to the Lord.
That, right.
You got to figure out how to make the time, right?
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to afford it and not even figure it out, surrender it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And watch it come.
Yeah.
I had to surrender. I was like, I can't afford this lady. I know. You see how price is. But I will say this. It was the best investment because I had to look at it as a seed.
Yeah.
It was a seed. And it wasn't a seed to you and your program.
Yeah.
It was a seed to God. God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Multiply.
Yeah. And you know what? You're the second person that I've officially had a testimonial about that. And she said, you know what? She didn't tell me, show me afterward that she put a seed down and she, for her and God, she invested and it multiplied like 10 times over. Like, and she was like, okay, God, let's do that. I hear you. And so it's like, I don't say this with pride. I say this with certainty because I know God, that this is fertile ground. This is fertile ground. And so if God is leading you, then all we need to do is just work it, right? And then allow and release it to God, and God will just take it to the next level. So all I'm gonna leave it there. All I would say, last thing is just, what would you say to anyone thinking or on the outer courts, thinking about coming into the inner circle and joining us here in CFA? What would you say to them?
If not now, then when? Simple. Especially as women, we will pour and we will pour and we will pour. What does it look like if you have the availability, not just on a financial, because the money's going to come, but on the spiritual level, you were free. Yeah. You know how much kingdom work I do? You know how much kingdom work I do with this money? Like, it's not my money. It's his money. Yeah, man. I'm building a school in Jamaica.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus.
I've never even been to Jamaica.
Thank you, Lord.
I help take care of a woman who's in her 30s, whose mother has dementia every month. When she came to me and a God told me to help her, I'm like, how? He's like, give her a job. So she doesn't have to leave her mom. What? So when I'm thinking, I'm going through, and I know it's for kingdom, the things I get to do for people.
I love
it. It's not just about me.
It's not about us. It's not about us. It's kingdom impact, ladies. It's time for us to rise up, right? It's time for us in whatever capacity you do that, but it's time for us to rise up and let our gift make room, and let our gift be
Yeah.
used and impact the world for Jesus. Honestly, if I could, I'm gonna, anyway, I said I'm gonna give you a virtual hug, but don't worry, when we meet, the day's coming,
2025.
2025 is coming, it's coming. All right, so
Yes.
thank you so much for just sharing and just having a nice, like, kind of really casual chat so everyone can just hear. But I
Yes.
hope you have been blessed. For those of you are watching, Stacey, I see you. God bless you, and all the ones that are watching later on. Yeah, let's do kingdom business. That's what I'll say. Let's do kingdom business and let's arise and do what he wants us to do and do it now without delay. All right. Shia, God bless you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you all for joining. Take care. God bless you all. See you later.